With the double biceps, it is in the contract a legal requirement every single time we appear on camera. The man to my left and to your right is in fact, the co-founder, co-breather of air, co-wearer of clothes in this very room. It is the master of disaster, the king of sting, the count of Monte Cristo. It is Thunderlips, the ultimate male. You give me every time. I gotta not look at you when you. It's my favorite one when you do that. It is the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year award, and there it is. There, the illustrious trophy held by the illustrious man with the illustrious beard. It is, in fact, your friend and mine. So I'm adding that in now. It is Dave Stockbridge. Welcome to the AWE podcast.
Well, it's an exciting podcast. It's a podcast of announcements. It's a podcast of some gossip, and everybody in the arm wrestling world loves a bit of gossip, don't they?
Oh yeah.
And anybody following the Instagram page might have seen that there's been a little bit of fallout, a little bit of conjecture. There's not quite as much activity, but there seems to be far more engagement than usual on the social media pages today. And Hollywood Matt Connolly, should we step through exactly why that might be?
Yes, well, Ryan's a match at AWE 3 has been announced, and it is against India's #1 arm wrestler, Mazahir. So that will be an exciting match for sure, and great to see the Indian market being part of the AWE experience here. So
it really is. It's a great joy to have the billion or so people in India all of a sudden drawing their attention to the great sport of arm wrestling.
They're all going to watch at the same time.
That's what I've been told. Pradeep's very, very much of the mind that everyone, as long as there's an opportunity to beat Ryan Bowen, all of India are going to be very interested in seeing that. I feel like the whole subcontinent, as a matter of fact, has a vested interest. I think this may be one of those issues that brings India and Pakistan together is the opportunity to beat Ryan Bowen.
That's right. It's world peace. It's the key. It's always been the key.
It seemingly has been missed by diplomatic circles for decades. That finally the Indians have woken up to it and have obviously now understand the value of beating Ryan Bowen,
right?
Not just to obviously the champion himself, Mazahir, but indeed to the entire subcontinent. So,
and then look who's jumped up in the comments himself. But the man we're just talking about, it is in fact Ryan Blue Bowen, the solver of world conflicts.
Yeah, very much the sacrificial lamb in this case. It's an exciting day for the world of arm wrestling. It's really a coming together of cultures, and India is very much an emerging marketplace in many respects. But when it comes to arm wrestling, we've seen that our friends in India have done an absolutely spectacular job of mainstreaming the sport, and is covered on the Sony network in India, and is now also being covered in the US market. So our friends over there certainly know a thing or two about getting arm wrestling out to the rest of the world, and they're certainly getting their brand of arm wrestling out to the world. And we're very excited to be a part of that, and really excited to see how one of Australia's best is going to go against India's finest as well. I mean, this is, from what I understand, the first time that these two athletes would have met across the table, and there's going to be a whole lot at stake on this one. Not steak itself, not biltong, but there is a lot. So
you're still thinking about the Kazakhstan meat platters that were
brought out for the Sambo guys.
Yeah.
If you want to know more about that, you can always head over to the Daily Combat Podcast and hear about meat platters and Sambo.
That looked delicious, by the way.
It did. It makes us want to take the AWE to Kazakhstan next.
That's right.
Yeah.
Whatever food is like on the menu, it's like that's where we're going.
Yeah. I don't think vegetables are an option in Kazakhstan. It doesn't appear.
It's just meat. That's perfect. I loved that.
Yeah.
The only thing was they kept walking past the table. I was like, come over to the
It was like it was a meat procession.
It's like, no, that one's fine. Stop walking away.
Yeah. And we got an even bigger pile on the neck. It was like wheelbarrows of meat, wasn't it? Just beautifully seasoned and ready to set. It was absolutely spectacular. So if you happen to see an AWE event in Ashgabat or any of the Central Asian countries now, you'll definitely know why. But Dakius Arm Wrestling, a.k.a. Taran the Tyrannosaurus Broad, he is the giant killer I'm hoping that we can get several names. So it's a bit like Stone Cold Steve Austin in the end. He's got like 8 of them, just for my benefit as much as anything. But Taryn says, AWE taking advantage of the huge viewership in India. Mate, I really do feel it's an untapped resource, and certainly the team here at AWE are very, very excited. Any opportunity to leverage a large audience in order to bring more attention to the region and to our AWE superstars, and to provide them with international opportunities to compete. We also know that the guys in India have been very much in the same boat as us. You know, the last couple of years has meant that there hasn't been as much international competition. At the same time, the popularity of the sport's exploding, but opportunities for Indian arm wrestlers outside of their borders has been somewhat limited. So now, with the world opening up and arm wrestling, more and more money finding its way into the arm wrestling funnel, opportunities like this have now emerged through a promotion like AWE that really didn't exist at the start of the year, is now in a position to attract some of the best talent from the subcontinent and bring them over to Australia for an event I'm sure will attract many, many eyeballs, not just from India, but I think the rest of the world's really interested to see where Indian arm wrestling is right now. So,
yeah, they're doing a tremendous job over there, and it's surprising that a lot of people around the world aren't aware of the talent that's there. The production level is amazing. These guys have incredible arm wrestlers from that region, and it's like, well, we'd like to see more of that. And that's why we're doing a collaboration. And Mazahir Saidu is going to be stepping up against Ryan Bowen in AWE 3. We've also got a lot of other announcements, but they won't be right now. We have to confirm stuff. But yes, this is today's exciting announcement.
It is our exciting announcement. And of course, now we may be very, very lucky and to have the great man himself, Ryan Blue Bowen.
Maybe if I click the right button.
Ladies and gentlemen, on the AWE podcast, here to share the moment of this announcement. So we did see it leaked out on the AWE pages just a little bit earlier, and of course, tongues are already wagging. Ryan Blue Bowen, how did all of this come about, and what are your thoughts going into this one?
Yeah, g'day, lads. Man, I'm excited, like seeing the initial reaction straight away. I'm seeing Indian fans pop up in the Instagram just telling me I'm going to get smashed, and I think that's fantastic. I'm like seeing all these new interactions with the culture of the sport that I haven't really tasted before. So I'm excited. Mazahir's a strong dude. He's the best of a country that has 1.408. I looked it up on Google a moment ago. 1.408 billion people. He's the boss of the lot, and I'm going to kick his ass. That's the plan.
Well, I think just as you were saying that, it clicked over 1.5 billion. So it's the market's growing by the second, and of course, I mean, this is really exciting. And from your perspective, I guess you've been really seeking out the next challenge for a little while, and testing yourself against the best from around the world has been an ambition of yours. And India, I guess that's the great unknown here. We over the last few years, we don't know how that talented pool of people, where they're sitting, where's the level.
Because that's the thing that could, I mean, the cream rises to the top, doesn't it? And the thing is, there's a lot of milk in India. If we're talking about cream rising, with 1.4 billion people, they love cows over there too.
It's a very good analogy.
They literally. I remember. I think I heard maybe 2 years ago or something, the sheer number of people that turned up to Indian nationals, and it was like bigger than any tournament I've ever heard of before, and that was a couple of years ago. I don't even know where it's at now. It's probably gone 10x that. Wow. But the point is, when you've got that many people pursuing the opportunities to be seen as the top guys, the level of professionalism that it's going to take to get there is going to be significant. So these guys are going to be badasses, and I think that Indian arm wrestling's getting to that time period now where they've been chasing the sport long enough that their cream should be pretty darn tasty.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very, very exciting times, and I love the fact that you're getting messages from the Indian fans like instantly. This has only been like a couple of hours since you've made
Yeah.
like you're going to get smashed. That's just fantastic. That's the first thing they wanted to say, as opposed to the rest of the world that says that on a regular basis. You've now got the Indian audience saying that too.
I feel like every taxi I ride, every quickie mart I visit, I'm going to get hammered at the moment.
You better. Yes, that's gonna be fantastic. We've got Tim Tallmage has written a comment here. He says, "I hope that the dates work out and I can be there." And he would love to ref it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hello to
Tim
you,
Talmadge from Arizona. He just put on a big event. I think he's been a ref of the King of the Table as well. So, g'day, Tim. Good to see you, man. Love it.
Yeah, that's thank you for the offer, Tim. And I know Mario just put a post up that he had a fantastic time over in Arizona. He said it was one of the best trips he's ever had in terms of arm wrestling, and that he was just enjoying himself so much that he couldn't even find time to take photos or videos because he was just in the moment, which is how you want it to be, which is incredible.
Yeah, absolutely amazing, great event over there, and but this whole situation with India emerging as now an arm wrestling superpower potentially over the next 5 or so years, as you mentioned, when you've got 1.5 billion people, you're bound to find a dozen or so that are super strong, that apply themselves to the sport of arm wrestling. Just numerically, statistically, it's just a greater chance. I mean, this is a great opportunity for you, Ryan, to impose yourself upon a whole nation and take that crown away and become Emperor of India, perhaps.
Yeah, man, it's exciting. You don't get opportunities like this just pop up. So, as you said, to get the ability or the opportunity to jump to the front of that 1.4 billion people officially is really cool. to be able to say that there's no one in India that can beat me in an arm wrestle, like that's pretty cool. I would be very happy with that. I would love to go to India as well. I don't know if we go there as a pre-match hype up tour or something. I'd love to go and
Definitely would love to do that.
And chest poke Mazahir as he's training or something. I don't know. It's really, I'm really excited by this. I get excited by all my matches, but this one's different. It feels different already.
So, have you done much homework thus far? Like, what do you know about Mazahir?
I've met Mazahir when I was at King of the Table, and I pulled Khaled Jashel. Mazahir was in the room, and he was straight on to me. He was like, "You, I want you, grip up, let's go." And I was saying hello to people, all this kind of stuff, and he wanted to grip me, and I said, "Oh, dude, I'll have nothing for you. I just pulled," but he was like right there saying, "Let's go." And so I've met Mazahir. And he's a big dude. He's got a big set of shoulders on him. His frame is massive. I think he's weighing in at about 115 kilos. He's a nasty top roller. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good.
So top roller.
He's a top roller. Yeah.
Yep. And how do you feel about the stylistic matchup?
Yeah, I love facing anyone who backs their wrist, because that's what I do as well. I pride myself on being able to dominate the hand and wrist. And when someone comes at me and says that they're going to take away my best lane, I welcome the challenge. So I really look forward to fighting for the top of the table and seeing who gets the control. I don't know if Mazahir, if he loses control, if he's got any fight left in him, but he is, I think, slightly taller than me. He's a bit bigger frame than me, but yeah, I can't wait to stylistically force that. And look, if I have to go defensive and dig in, I'm happy to do that too. I'm not gonna let the Indians win. I'm not gonna let it
happen. Yeah, but does he is only top roll that he usually does? Does he work in hook or press at all, or is it just his ace top roll?
He's very much ace is his top roll. I've seen him burn out in the hook in his endurance. So I think if he gets forced there, he'll fight hard for a long time, but it's not where he wants to go. His back pressure pronation is his main weapon. And I think he'll do everything within his power to keep it in that lane.
Got a comment here from Couch Apple. It says, "Greeting, gents. Blue versus Mazahir already. India versus Australia seems to be good rivals in cricket and hockey, I think. Time for the big arm to enter the foray of arm wrestling.
Yeah, I mean,
arm wrestling.
it's another reason why it's exciting. I mean, I grew up loving cricket. I watched Australia versus India, many test matches, and yeah, Indians are amazing athletes and sports people. That they have their fan base has an obsession with sport that is super passionate. They love their sporting heroes across all walks of life, and arm wrestling, as you say, is really starting to explode. I think if you actually look onto YouTube, in particular in YouTube Shorts, Indian arm wrestling is already number one for views by a massive margin. They've gone way past the rest of the world in YouTube Shorts, and I think that that culture that we've seen in cricket and in hockey and other sports that will cross over, and I think there'll be an amazingly long-lasting and enjoyable rivalry between Australia and India for sure.
Yeah.
But it's going to start with let's just be clear. It's going to start with 1-0 Australia.
Absolutely. We've got Tim Tormages chimed in again. He said India has so much talent. I can't wait for them to come over to Washington State in December.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you might be able to just forego inviting all of India and just take Ryan.
He may be the emperor.
The emperor of India, after all.
And Sir Bangle says, no super chat option. I always try to be the first. Yes, well, we're pushing hard to get the AWE channel monetized. So we are not far away. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And as soon as
I have a feeling AWE is going to have 1.4 billion subscribers.
Yeah, that's right.
My first command as emperor of India is all
yeah, when you were saying before about them being massive sports fans, I remember Sachin Tendulkar, who was he's a tremendous cricket player.
the little master, I think.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and he had this fancy sports car that he loved, and he could never drive it because he would just get mobbed. He had to drive. If he was going to drive in that car, he'd have to wait till like 3 a.m. It was quiet enough that he could actually get around without people just leaping and going, "Oh, Sachin!" So yeah, it's exciting.
Well,
Sorry,
so the same thing kind of happens with a lot of Australian athletes. So those that compete against the Indians in these sports go to India, and they think they're hated by the Indians because of the reaction they might get when they are competing, because the Indians are so parochial, but they really do love the competition. They love the other athletes, and so you see guys like Brett Lee emerge with Bollywood careers after their cricketing career is long and done.
Terrible career.
Yeah. So that's the one. So you've been practicing the moves already. So
you've got it. You're the king.
You are already. Absolutely amazing. So
Mario says, hello Ryan, nice match with Mazahir. One thing I didn't like about AWE 1 was that the matches were released the very next day. I hope this time you'll wait a week. We did actually discuss the reasoning behind that, and one of the reasons is there's nothing like the experience of watching it live. You can't beat that. The value is instantly diminished minute by minute after the event and the result is known. And we wanted to make sure that when we release content that people are seeing high quality, high level production matches on our terms. They're not seeing a bootlegged phone version that somebody's filmed their TV and that's their experience of what AWE is. We want people to understand this is a high end production, and you're going to see top level quality production and matches. And if you're not going to experience it live, wait for the next day, but you'll probably get the results spoiled.
Yeah, and indeed, and there's also those practical implications. Where we just don't have the resources to dedicate to tracking what's going on, who's bootlegging, who's doing what, copywriting, striking, that type of thing. So, and also, we want people to see this our events in as close as practicably to the way that we present it. And so, if we leave it a week, we know that all the other channels are going to be running something with our brand behind it, and it mightn't necessarily be representative of how we want our athletes represented or how we want our brand represented. So, having control over that is a big deal for us here at AWE. So we've been tossing the idea around, and we feel like for now we're going to get the content out there pretty quickly thereafter, so that we're in control of the look and feel of that content shortly after the event. Ryan, do you have any thoughts on that?
how good is it that that AWE3 will be broadcast from awearmwrestling.com? I'm so excited about the website. If you can visit the website already, if you haven't, you'll just get a welcome sort of coming soon page. But man, from looking at the back end, I'm so excited for that website to be up and running. It's going to be slick. It's going to be slick.
We're doing all the profiles this week for all the athletes for AWE and doing all their stats and power levels and all that sort of thing, which is always fun to click into. And I'm wondering which one of the athletes is going to be like, hang on a minute, you've given me a 6 for this.
And by the way, Matt's done all the rankings. So if you don't like your ranking, you can blame Matt.
Hey, how about this for an interesting point? I live in Brisbane, Australia, as I'm sure you guys know. For those watching at home, they probably worked that out. But my neighbours, both up the hill and down the hill, are both Indian. Is that how is that going to go? Indian neighbours on both sides, so I can't wait to spoil their parties.
You'd be like, hey, did you see the match? Did you see who won? That's fantastic. Jack's been. Sorry. Yeah. So I'll just say hello to Jack, the leader with the red shirt at the SA Titans Club. Although I think you took that title from him in a super match. Jack's
I don't fit into the shirt, so you can keep that one.
There you go. Very good. Hello to you, and hello to Josh Barker, who's also jumped in as well. Josh Barker,
great man. How's the elbow going? Let us know. A bit of an update. The doctors haven't been in touch just recently, so certainly let us know how you're going with the recovery, Josh.
He left everything on the table, didn't he? Literally,
including his DNA.
Yeah. Lots of it. Cause some concern. Yeah.
I do like watching that match back because I've gone back through it so many times to get highlights or get certain clips or whatever. And just seeing Tim wiping all the blood off all the pads and the table in between every round. It's so funny. It's like, oh my God.
He didn't sign up for that. Yeah. Exciting announcements coming with respect to the AWE website, as Ryan was alluding to previously, which is where you'll be able to catch all AWE events from here on in. You'll still be able to catch it on Ryan's channel as well, but essentially awe.com is going to be the home of
awearmwrestling.com.
Yeah, there you go.
awearmwrestling.com will be the home of the pay-per-views from here on in, and so we'll big announcements on that as soon as we're live. We're going to let all of you guys know. There'll be an opportunity for you to register, keep in contact, and know of any upcoming events that are coming your way.
And all the information
without actually giving any spoilers away, guys, because I know that we all want to wait. I just wanted to tell everyone that there's going to be a massive announcement in the next 24 hours from AWE.
that one.
The massive one.
That one, yeah.
A mind-blowing one. I
remember that one.
The hairs are standing up my back thinking about it.
Can't wait.
Get ready for that.
When is that going to be announced?
Well, we're on a podcast at the moment, so I mean, it's uploaded. It's uploaded. It's just sitting unlisted. So when the three of us turn it on, that's when it happens.
I saw when you were uploading it.
So this is huge. And you'll be able to see that drop on Ryan's page. So make sure you head on over there.
It'll be right here on the
AWE page.
Oh, you see it on the AWE page. So
yeah, I will share the living daylights out of it on my pages as well. But its source will come from right here. We got to get to that monetization on this channel, and this will be one of those talking points that helps it. I tell you what.
Absolutely. Bowen Contrano is in the chat there. He says, hey guys, and say hello to you.
G'day, Bowen.
The Axeman. And we've got
the Axeman. What a good nickname. Good nickname. I like that.
Yeah. I wonder if that is his nickname, but it can be if he likes it.
I mean, he quite literally is a former Australian axe champion. So
yeah, we were talking about that with him on the show last week, and yeah, it's always great. We were talking about when you see the only time I ever get to see wood chopping was at the show, at the Royal Show. And fantastic. I always loved it. But the Axeman Bowen, he's in the chat, and welcome to you. And we've also got Swisher Sweet here. It's his great announcement regarding Mazahir, a 200 IQ play tapping into the hot Indian market. Absolutely. Swisher Sweet.
It's exciting. It really is exciting. I've been involved in arm wrestling for 10 years, and I've got a feel for that 10 years. It's been very consistent. Literally, the moment we announced this match, a whole new bunch of fans started interacting with the content that I've never seen before, and I was like, "Well, look at this! There's this other side that I just haven't been part of before." So I'm excited.
That now hates me. Excellent. That's great.
Yeah, it's like your first interaction with them is like, I'm going to beat your champion.
I will be your emperor. Brandon Chan says, "Hi guys, I can't wait for AWE 3. We can't wait to deliver it. We've got very, very special announcements coming up regarding AWE 4. So we're already looking ahead beyond AWE 3. So this is very, very exciting."
Brandon is your fan, your biggest fan, he said.
He's my big. I'm his biggest fan as well.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Everyone's very excited. Yes, it is exciting. Josh, we'd love an update on your elbow, by the way, which we did ask about.
Yeah, or maybe that was the update. Is that everyth's exciting? So there's more.
It could be.
Let's just assume that the elbow's back to 100%.
Freeze M. Says Travis coming up. Well, you'll have to wait and see what the announcement is. It will be at some point in the near future. You'll find out.
I think in the next somewhere between the next 2 to 6 hours, it'll drop.
Yeah.
On this channel.
Okay.
Whoops, missed that. There we go. Jake Ward, the Aussie arm wrestler, is here. Ready, bang. Do we have a date for AWE 3? Love the Ryan Slash.
That's nice. That's really nice. We're looking in dates. So essentially, what we are doing currently is that we're talking to several venues, and we are just working through that now. But I think we're looking at the second half of October at this stage, and it'll be one of those dates. And of course, Jake, as soon as we know, we'll be sending that over to you, so you can clear it in your diary, mate.
Absolutely. Swisher Sweet says, does Australia have a suitable opponent for Rahul Panika?
Do we?
Maybe he can hide in Mazahir's suitcase.
Yes.
Well, maybe.
Well, we've checked into the options, and he will fit in the luggage. So he'll go in overhead, and it's fine. He's very flexible. He doesn't mind.
Fantastic set of abs. That
I remember seeing
wrestling's best abs, I think you'll find.
Yeah, it could be.
I remember seeing a Logan Paul video back in the day where he packed his buddy who was a midget into a long haul flight suitcase, and they actually did it and near died because it was so cold and not had much oxygen, but he made it. So I don't know if Rahul Panika, if he does the suitcase option, whether he'll be in the greatest shape come the match. But you never know. You never know.
Well, I think he'll come out just even leaner. I think he'll just come out looking even more aesthetic.
He would be Mr. Olympia if he was any leaner. He's like 3% body fat, that guy.
Yeah, I think him and Jamie Barrett should have a pose off, regardless of what might happen. Yeah,
that's actually I'd like to see that. Love the Ryan versus Saidu match. I gripped up with Saidu last month. Ryan 4-0.
Oh, bold
prediction.
Jake's always, he loves the early crow, Jake. And I owe Jake some wins. He's backed me so many times when I've lost. I owe the
Well, not at AWE 2. You took out the victory there.
Yeah. And
he was so happy. He was so happy. Like, finally, happened.
He was absolutely. You could hear the joy in his voice, even when he was commentating the match. That he was just so excited for you.
Yeah,
fantastic to see.
Any quick thoughts on Arizona, Ryan, as we're going through the comments here?
Man, it looked like such a stud lineup. It was a great tournament, Arizona. I think Mario Tambakis, AWE's Mario Tambakis, featured over there. He won the 220-pound left arm division, I think, and he finished third on the right while also pulling the super heavyweight. So Aussies did well. But yeah, I mean, it was a killer lineup. It looked amazing. Studs everywhere.
Yeah. Any interesting matchups that took your eye?
I mean, I loved seeing Artem Taranenko pull through Coach Ray. I just got to say it.
That's what I was kind of leaning towards.
Yes.
How long is it going to take him?
It was pretty satisfying. It was the first thing I looked up. Was like, how did these two go?
And so by logic, this obviously
arm wrestling math. it's done. It's done. Don't even bother anymore.
Coach Ray's not even getting an invitation anymore. It's not even a conversation. So,
well, I mean, if you lose to the guy that Ryan beat 4-0, there you go.
Yeah, I guess that question's been answered. Ryan, did you see the comments on Derek Smith's shorts tonight, bro? This form police who are whining in the comments. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I think I didn't see the live or anything like that, but I mean, I get that sort of stuff all the time whenever I post lifts that is arm wrestling specific training. You get a whole bunch of people saying it's terrible or whatever, but a lot of that crowd will someday become arm wrestling fans because they're still in the category of the people who haven't discovered the sport yet. They're still the ones that say you got to sit up right and do this and nothing else. But anyway, there's still plenty of
still doing cardio.
Yeah. There's still plenty of them out there, and there's always a couple of arm wrestlers that just spend hours on end replying to all these people and trying to correct them. So, but it's a little entertaining, but we'll get there.
These little micro controversies, ultimately, do you feel like they're good for the sport?
Oh yeah, they are. They help the algorithm promote things, and So there you go. It was on a hammer curl, says Carolyn Looms. Yeah, absolutely. I get hammered when I do heavy hammer curls because it doesn't look right. Like I think my 1 arm heavy hammer curl is like 62.5 kilos, and that freaks people out, and they just anyway.
That's part of the fun part of arm wrestling, isn't it? Freaking people out. So Mario Tambakas, the great man himself, keen to hear about these announcements, lad. Well,
Mario, this one will get you going. Trust me. This next video that drops, you will get all your drinks lined up because you'll be celebrating hard.
So big news coming out. Big announcements over the weekend. So stay tuned to the Instagram page and the YouTube channel, and we're going to have a series of announcements that you'll see pop up over the next week or so. And the very, very first of those, of course, is Mazahir, Saidu, who will be competing against the man on screen at the moment. So that news has just dropped. And will we find a new Emperor of India? Only time will tell, and you'll be able to find out at AWE 3. So the Aussie arm wrestler says, I was undefeated for 11 minutes and 27 seconds. Not that anybody was counting in the 220 left arm. We'll catch up for the rest. Wow.
Yeah,
okay, so we might.
I did see Jake's win. He had a good match. That was he got the win. It looked good. So that left arm of his not too bad at all.
It's coming good.
Hey, guys, I wish I could stay and talk about this for ages, but I do have to run. I must apologize. I got my daughter knocking at the door telling me it's time to go. But man, I'm so excited. Look, Mazahir Saidu, I wish you the very best of preparations. I can't wait to see what India's best can bring to AWE. To you two fellas, man, let's enjoy the ride because this is going to be a good one, I think. It's going to be a good one.
Awesome. Thank you for popping in.
Oh, yeah, my pleasure, guys. All right.
All right, mate. We'll speak to you later.
Well done.
There we go.
So there we go. There's one part of the big news, as you may see alluded to, Ryan versus Mazahir. Big news. India's best against Ryan Blue Bowen. Will the delusional one take over India, or will this just be a stumbling block on his course to greatness? Only time will tell, and you'll be able to find out at AWE 3. And I think Mr. Olympia 112 division might be a reference
to Josh Barker.
Josh Barker.
Not Josh Barker, sorry. To Jamie Barrett and Rahul Panico. Josh
is pretty lean. He
is
lean. Way in there.
If he just raised the forearm, he would get the trophy straight away.
So, and of course, the great controversy that's going to emerge in the sport, and we'll give some time to right now, is exclusive contracts. The dark days of exclusive contracts may be returning to the world of arm wrestling And by exclusive contracts, many would be familiar, especially those in the comments and that follow the sport. We see Table IQ there, for instance, and Couch Apple. All of these guys would be very, very familiar with the phenomenon of the WAL and the exclusive nature of the contracts that were entered into. Now, some of those athletes had opt-outs here and there. Some of them were completely locked in. But one thing was for sure, it was implied that they were loyal to one promotion and discouraged from competing within any of the other promotions. Now, of course, when WAL wasn't able to continue putting on shows because of COVID, that led to a lot of frustration, and a lot of those athletes fell out of contract during that period. And so we came to the post-COVID era where the world started opening up again and new arm wrestling promotions popped up like East versus West and King of the Table and AWE and Arm Gods. So we've seen all of these promotions emerge in an era where if you can afford the best, you can secure the best. They'll come on your card as long as they like you. They'll come on the card and they'll compete. But those days may well be numbered, Hollywood Matt Connolly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, I mean, the days of contracts, they're not being discussed. They're actually in play. We've discovered, but it is an interesting time. The last few years has been very good in terms of the free market and athletes being able to choose who they compete with and where they go, and there hasn't been restrictions on that, which has been fantastic because you do see guys like Todd Hutchings being able to compete with us in the AWE. And then if he wants to compete over, say, with Arm Gods or something like that, he's welcome to do that. You know, he has the ability to do those things. But when you've got a restrictive contract that prevents you from competing with any other organization, yeah, it does limit the ability to see the top athletes go against each other, especially when you get somebody. Say you've got two different rival organizations. This guy's signed with them, this guy's signed with them, and they can't compete against each other. But that's the match everyone wants to see. So say you had Devin Larratt and Levan, and they were signed to a different company, and it's like everyone wants to see that match. It's like, well, we can't do it because they're on two different rival contracts. It does become frustrating for fans, and it is frustrating for athletes as well.
And we kind of came out of that era, just a little while ago, because we did have that going on, of course. We had the Russians over here, the Americans over here. You seemingly couldn't get a match up, or there was a great deal of consternation that went into putting something together. And but we've had it good for the last few years. But it's been rumored the success of AWE2 is such that it's rattled some cages and of course made some people nervous, and that's understandable because it was a spectacular event. And I think showcased the sport in a way that anybody who loves the sport would agree is putting it in good esteem and putting it on a path to mainstream success. And so that was certainly our objective. And it seems that other people in the arm wrestling promotion space agreed and perhaps want to, I guess, evaporate some of that pool of talent that might be out there and restrict some opportunities for promotions like ourselves to be able to secure some of those top names.
Yeah, that's right. I always talk about the UFC, but I'm going to talk about the UFC.
Should we talk about the UFC?
Yeah, let's do that.
Oh, I'll put this encyclopedia right here.
I know that inside out. Yeah. But yeah, so restrictive contracts in the UFC, there is an anti-monopoly law in the United States, and I'm not sure how it affects worldwide organizations, but it effectively states that you cannot prevent other businesses from being able to perform. And if you're doing certain tactics that limits their ability to function as a business, then it's an anti-monopoly law can be in play there. But I remember seeing with the UFC that they have very restrictive contracts. You can't go and compete in any other sports. You can't do certain things, and obviously you can't compete in MMA in any other organizations. Randy Couture was the heavyweight champion at the time in UFC. He wanted to fight a guy called Fedor Emelianenko, who is Russian.
Maybe the greatest all-time heavyweight.
Yeah, that's right. And Randy Couture was like, I want that fight, and I want you guys to make that fight. And they're like, well, we can't because he won't sign with us. He's with a different organization, and they have these the crazy demands that they wanted in there.
Mm.
They wanted the UFC to build a stadium in Russia and have the match there, and there was all these it was never going to happen,
Yeah.
basically. But Randy was very frustrated,
Yeah.
and he said, "Well, I'm not fighting until that match happens." And he was on a 2-year deal or something,
Yeah.
and he was the champion. And so he sat out. He literally sat out and said, "No, I'm not. No, that's the only one I'm going to do. I'm just going to sit out until my contract runs out, and then I'm going to go over and I'm going to fight Fedor."
Yeah.
Which didn't end up hurting anyway. But
He had a restful couple of years.
well, he was
Probably
already
added
like 47 when he was doing this.
Added a couple of years to his life, maybe. So very, very, very interesting topic. And of course, we want the best for the athletes. We want the athletes to make tons of money out of the sport. This is the whole idea of it, to mainstream the sport so it reaches an ever larger audience, and so that the athletes can make more money. That's the idea. Whether that's and it seems that there's a play on and perhaps there's an acknowledgement there that much of the top arm wrestling talent in the world is undervalued or has been undervalued, maybe underappreciated, and so there's a play there to maybe to bring balance to that. Or maybe to reward some of those bigger names that have done so much to build the sport. The finances there, great, and I think there's certainly opportunity in that. But the flip side of it, of course, is that it might limit the opportunity for up and coming talent to compete against and measure themselves against some of these iconic names of the sport. So we see it from both angles, and certainly understand that the sport is rapidly evolving. There's more and more financial interest in it than ever before. There's business cases to be made, and here at the AWE, we're very cognizant of that and trying to keep up with it all. And from our perspective, we want to have available to us the best pool of talent, and we want to make available to the world the best that our region has to offer. But it's one of those very careful situations. Is the arm wrestling world going to move firmly into the realms of contracting athletes, or does a promotion like Arm Gods have to sign their athletes to a 3 or 5 year deal now? Is somebody going to go put down $2 million for Devin Larratt? Maybe. Are we going to find out? Is there going to be maybe some athletes upset when they find out that what the offers are that other people have been receiving, and maybe they'll regret signing to a 3-year deal or a 5-year deal in a world where the arm wrestling as a sport is growing so quickly, and the revenue stream into the sport is getting bigger and bigger all the time. So of course, people that generally speaking want to sign you up to something maybe feel like there's a reason why they've got to sign you up. Maybe things aren't going to be so great in a year's time. But if you signed up to 5 years, doesn't really matter. You signed up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of elements that play with that. As I said, it's been very good for arm wrestling in the last couple of years because of that ability to go and compete in any organization. If somebody rings you up from wherever and offers you a match, and you decide, yes, sure, that's something I'd like to do, then you have the ability to go and do that. But then if you are restricted, the last thing you want to see is athletes being restricted from competing and then spending years in court battles, the best years of their prime career, not being able to compete because of a contract dispute, and wasting time and wasting money, arguing about a contract, and all these disputes that go nowhere, except wasting that person's ability to perform in the sport that they love and that people want to see them do.
Yeah, really interesting. A lot of the arm wrestling community are obviously athletes as well, and so very interested to see what your thoughts are. In terms of all of this as well. Mike Aiello can't get into Europe. Do you think? Well, I think that might have been somewhat of a furphy as the way that information was presented, by the way. So I don't think Mike's got the capacity to travel to any continent at the moment. So. Just don't take necessarily the source at face value there.
Australia is very restrictive with
extremely restrictive, and from what we understand Mike's situation, it might be prohibitively such for him to venture onto our fair shores. We wish him all the very best, of course, and hope that everything works itself out perfectly, very, very quickly for him as well.
Mm. And Swisher Sweet says 112 Olympia, Rahul Panika post suitcase week. Never a more shredded man alive.
Yeah.
We've got the Couch Apple, the Great Dane. He says, hope AWE will come out of more funky.
We're working on the funky promos. We actually have a funky promos department here at the AWE. They're working
funk
feverishly.
division.
Yes, the funk division. They're in the corner, funking away right now, tinkering away. You're going to see a really big announcement very, very soon on the AWE channel. So certainly get your notifications up, because you're going to want to know this news the minute it drops, and keep your notifications registered there, because over the coming week or two, you are going to see even more coming from the AWE team. Neil, pick up. Hi, Matt and Dave. I hope you and your families are all happy and healthy. Thanks, mate. We always hope the same for you. Just for clarity, guys, which promotions specifically are going to be putting athletes on restrictive contracts? Well, we think it's probably going to be up to them to make these big announcements, but I'm sure you may have heard or sniffed them out yourself. From what I understand, it's maybe the worst kept secret in arm wrestling behind the scenes. So there are going to be several, from what I understand, several of your friends are probably good sources of information to get that directly. But from what we understand, it's now in play, and that there's certainly some of the best talent in our sport have been approached, and now have some big decisions to make, and that might well be making it very difficult for say promotions like your own, Neil, and ourselves to secure that talent in the not too distant future. So of course, these to the extent that these are these agreements, or that these offers are 100% solid or whatever, it's all gossip and rumors, as we said at the top. So always with gossip and rumors, and we know how the arm wrestling fraternity loves a good gossip and a good rumor. Then it is a hot topic of conversation. It's all behind the scenes. Do we agree or not with exclusive contracts? It's going to be a hot topic, and I'm sure as more and more money finds its way into the sport, it's going to become increasingly so.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic, Neil, and how do you go about it with Arm Wars? Do you have if somebody who's signed to compete on Arm Wars, is there a restriction in there, as in, maybe in the weeks leading up to the Arm Wars event, that you don't compete anywhere else in case you get injured, or you can't compete at your prime form on the Arm Wars card, or if there's anything in there regarding those sorts of things or considerations? But yeah.
And if you had bottomless pockets, and who might be, say, the top 5 athletes you'd sign up, so that they could be couldn't compete on any other promotions, I guess. There's one way of thinking about it as well. And what does that mean to the business case of people, promotions selling pay-per-views? Because we know that these big names, as soon as there's a Devon Larratt on a card, or let's say Ryan Bowen, and we hope soon Mario Tambakis, for instance, and Josh Barker, and Marcus Atirai, and these types of guys. One day we hope to be saying the same thing about them. But when you've got the draw power of one of or two of those big names on your card, the difference that it makes to your pay-per-view sales and your relevancy is huge. And I think we've lived through some good times over the last couple of years, where athletes have been free agents, and it's given promotions like your own and smaller ones like ourselves that chance to have a little bit of the gold dust of these stars settle upon ourselves, and gives us an audience, so that we can show the world what we've got to offer. And maybe, just maybe, those opportunities are drawing to an end.
The gold dust off those stars.
I could see looking into the middle of this.
That was great. I love that. I love that. I've never heard that analogy before. It's fantastic that you worked that in there so seamlessly.
Like Neil's gold dust is filtering, is sprinkling upon us right now. just by mentioning us in the comments. So, Neil, it's interesting times. I'm very interested in, of course, your thoughts in all of this. And I would imagine it being something if you would have given thought to at some point as well, especially if we all would like to be in that position where we have enormous amounts of money to be able to build the dream promotion. How would that look? Well, it'll probably look good with 5 or 6 of the top names of the sport signed up to you exclusively, and I would imagine helps you sell pay-per-views and attract sponsors. And of course, the inversion of that is what might be experienced by smaller promotions that don't have those exclusive agreements. Or is it that there's room in the arm wrestling world where there can be a monolithic promotion and still there'd be enough for say smaller promotions, auxiliary promotions to still be able to coexist in that environment? I guess time will tell.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, what works out fantastically is when you've got, say, people that are signed to one organization, and then you've got other athletes that are signed to somebody else, and you'd love to see these two guys go at it, and the organizations actually work together and say, look, everyone wants to see this match. We want to see this match. Let's figure something out and get this happening, because it's in everybody's best interest to not be like, nah, too bad. It's never going to happen. You're never going to see it, because the people who miss out are the fans and the competitors, really.
Yeah, and I guess in an environment where you do have a monolith that's got much of the big talent signed to it, let's say hypothetically that such a scenario plays out, then it's really going to be incumbent upon those smaller promotions to be much more cooperative and coordinate not just the pool of talent, but also their schedule of events, and how we can optimize our opportunities within a world where maybe we can't rely upon the draw power of a big name to the same degree that we might have been able to before. Past midnight here in Vegas, driving home. So things are just getting cracking there in Vegas. Now you're heading home. You're heading home and not heading out. So that's good news.
And we've got AJ, one of the Indian fans who must have heard about Mazahir Saidu being matched up against Ryan Bowen in the most recent post that's come out from the AWE announcement.
Yeah, well, it's India and Australia are great friends, but frenemies, I think, is probably the best way to put it. There's nothing we like more than after beating England, we love beating each other. So that's something we've both got in common, and we both share a national day. A lot of people don't realise that.
Oh, really?
India and Australia Day is on the same day as Independence Day in India. So we've got a lot in common.
26th of January.
26th of January.
There you go.
Yeah, correct.
Neil Pickup says, Arm Wars have no plans whatsoever to put athletes on restrictive contracts. We never have, and yet the very best in the world have always stayed loyal and supported the promotion. The exception is Ryan. Oh, there you go. Well, that's great to hear, Neil. Yeah, and that's the idea, that we've enjoyed the fact that the athletes do have that free agency, as we were talking about before. If you want to compete with Arm Wars and you get the opportunity, and Neil Pickup gives you the call and says, hey, we want to see you and we'd love to give you an opportunity to compete with us on Arm Wars, and it's like, I'd like to do that. And then you have the ability to go and do that without being restricted. You don't have to go to your organization and say, I'd really like to go and compete over an
Neil
Arm
gave me
Wars.
the call. I got the message.
It's Neil Pickup's on the phone. It's like, no, you're not allowed to do that.
Yeah, and I think Neil's done a better job than almost anybody else when it comes to shining a spotlight on some of those less familiar names, and then finding a way that he can match them with bigger names to draw attention to those matchups, and kind of understanding that and especially Neil's storytelling and production values, where if he can find that diamond in the rough and that talent that's out there that all of a sudden just resonates. He's onto gold, and of course the benefit for the athlete is that they get a tremendous exposure as a result of Neil's promotion, but moreover, Neil gets an insight as to, this is what the arm wrestling world wants now. And let's just give them more of that. So Neil's experimentation with new talent and new names that aren't necessarily household names is a very brave move commercially, because he's playing a very definitely a long game there, trying to uncover that next generation of talent. So, and I think in large part, Neil, that's why you would find that many of the athletes are very loyal to you, because you're the one that's kind of discovered that in them before anybody else, and being able to see that potential and marketability around an athlete that other promotions, let's say there are promotions out there that will just wait until you are a big name before you get that chance. So all credit to Neil. He's as much as a great ambassador of sport, he's a fantastic talent scout, and understands what's going to be popular in the sport of arm wrestling. So Yeah.
Also a pretty good arm wrestler as well.
Very, very handy arm wrestler. Your favourite arm wrestling match, as a matter of
That's
fact,
right.
features Neil Pickup.
It does.
We've had the story a couple of times
That's
on the
right.
podcast. I think you might have even shared it with Neil.
I did actually. Yeah,
Would
that's
have been a
right.
moment for you being able to share it with the great
It
man.
was amazing. I think it was on Jake's. Jake Ward was doing like a 24-hour stream.
Yeah.
And anybody could just jump in.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to jump in as Neil was there.
Yes.
So it's like, I'd never spoken to him before. And yeah, we managed to have, I think he was on for about half an hour and got some questions in to Neil. So that was a great experience.
Yeah, and so as you can see there, Neil's taken the view that exclusive contracts, he doesn't really need them. He finds his athletes are really loyal to him. We don't have any exclusive agreements here at AWE, for instance. But
it's written in there. I wrote it in there. You're not restricted from competing.
You're not restricted from competing, but yeah. Just please let us know if you do. But of course, it does give rise to circumstance like Rhett Downward, for instance. He competed just 2 weeks before, so he accepted a match up in AWE and made us all very nervous when he decided to go to Singapore 2 weeks before and pull in Singapore. He walked away victorious with a belt over his shoulder. So I think he might be one of the few people that's now received belts or had wins and received titles in 3 continents, just over recently, France, Singapore, and of course here in Victoria, where he walked away champion. So, he made us all very nervous. I mean, he took care of business in Singapore, came over here and took care of business as well, and did very well. But I guess Neil would know the nerves that might emerge in a promoter's.
Just don't hurt yourself.
Just give yourself a little, and don't make a war your excuse for not winning on my promotion. So especially when flights are paid for and hotels are booked and money's been invested. So in the marketing. So there's obviously some degree of agreement that must come about with an athlete when it comes to performing, and we certainly have agreements for each specific bout, and I'm sure Neil does as well. But ultimately, our athletes are all free agents.
We've got Phil Woody, the man, the myth, the legend, has jumped in.
He's a good man.
If anyone has watched our stream, I've said this many times that Phil is part of one of those guys that no matter what arm wrestling stream you load, he will be.
He must have all the notifications. I'd imagine he's like Swordfish and he's just got screens all around.
Right.
So he's got Jake Ward over here. He's got AWE over here. Oh, shit, Ryan's on. Okay.
We'll check oh, no, I missed that one.
Pradeep, wait.
There's too many.
I don't know how you're juggling it all, Phil, but God bless you.
So the world's strangest man says, "Hey mates," a little ghost symbol. Very nice.
It's strange.
Yeah, that's great.
You're right. It's just a little. It's just weird enough to be strange.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, love it.
And there is the Arm Wars link there from Phil Woody, and that is the promotion we were just talking about. Neil Pickup's promotion there, Arm Wars. You can check them out. I think that they're mostly on YouTube is where they release their new content, but they do a tremendous job over there as well.
Yep.
And we've got Lazy Hook says, loving the AWE. You guys are doing a great job. Well done. Well, thank you very much. We like the fact that you're enjoying the content that's coming out, and you would have heard about the announcement that would have happened earlier today that Mazahir Sidhu, India's #1 arm wrestler, is taking on Ryan Blue Bowen at AWE #3. We'll have more details soon on that, and you'll get a good picture as to who Mazahir is as an arm wrestler and what skill set he's going to be bringing. But as Ryan alluded to earlier, that he has alluded. Yeah, that's right. That's the $5 word right there. I get 3 of them an episode.
It's in the contract.
It's in the contract with the double biceps clause. But he's a top role specialist, and Ryan, that's one of his favorite things to go against, is somebody who backs their wrist, because that's exactly what he does for himself.
So now I understand why you're against these restrictive contracts, having been held into one for so long. The double bicep pose, being forced to do that every time you appear on screen.
Yeah,
you must be resenting that now. I can now see.
It's definitely not something that I made up at all.
To show up your biceps.
That's right.
And your training of 21 years.
22 years.
22 years. We've clicked over. There's been an anniversary.
Every February.
every February. You mark the date. Do you know which date?
I know.
Is it Valentine's Day?
It's whenever TAFE started, but I started at TAFE at 19 years old.
Okay. It was
Yeah.
that day you started.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, resistance training was the topic.
Oh, at TAFE.
TAFE.
Because you were training to be a PC.
Yeah.
Right, at TAFE.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But without having ever trained.
Oh, I mean, I'd done my own stuff at home
Okay.
and fitness and stuff, but never like gone and lifted weights.
That's
in the gym.
like a guy that's like he's done the arm wrestling movements on a machine on a cable crossover, but he's never really arm wrestled someone before. You were that guy.
I was an expert swimmer who'd never been in the pool.
Tiny Ghost.
Tiny Ghost from The World's Strangest Man.
Yes, it is the Tiny Ghost. I'm sure there's a double meaning, but it's just straight over my
I'm
head.
hoping it's not like the what is it, like cucumber thing or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm a bit again. I'm not sure with the emojis and the cool stuff. But Mazahir is a great idea for a match. Thank you, Lazy Hook. Appreciate the comment. Huge audience in India. There is 1.4. I think by the time this podcast is over, 1.5 billion people, and very strong and reasonably well-known puller. And I think from our perspective, I mean, a big name in India. And so what we're finding a little bit with India is that it's quite an insular kind of a competitive environment, and these guys have just been banging around and competing against each other. And like a lot of our athletes post-COVID are champing at the bit to test themselves against some of the best in the world. And obviously the guys in India have been, Mazahir has been following Ryan from what we heard a little earlier. Their first encounter was one where Mazahir called him out and said, I want you. And has since been quite insistent on, we're going to meet, we're going to have this match, we're going to do this. And during that period of time, Ryan's now almost bulked up to a size where, well, he's now a legit heavyweight and is now sitting very comfortably within that division with Mazahir. So I believe Mazahir about 115 kilos, Ryan sitting at about 1.8, 110 at the moment.
Almost as big as Lachlan.
It's 140 kilos, Lachlan's without doubt.
Neil, pick up. This is we are welcoming another new face.
Ooh,
Remy.
Let's go with Thibodeau
of Canada. Remy Thibodeau of Canada. I'm probably saying that so wrong.
I feel like H should be silent, but I'm not sure. So we'll go with Thibodeau.
Sure.
Thibodeau.
Of Canada, their new national champion in the under 85 kilos left.
Very cool.
My advice would be to remain true to your brand and don't over compliment things. Oh, there you go.
Complicate. I think you meant complicate.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, I think we gave too many compliments.
Oh, so we draw back on the compliments.
No more compliments.
No more compliments. Just about Neil's promotion. Arm Wars, we'll just pull back on that. We'll take those compliments. We'll give them to Arm Gods instead. That's what you're alluding to. I'm not sure.
No. He meant complicate, obviously.
Yeah.
But, we've been looking forward to seeing Remy, and if he's the champion in the under 85 kilo division, that'd be amazing. So he'll be competing with Arm Wars, and Neil pick up, and you'll be able to see that.
Who will he be competing against? I guess that's one of Neil's big announcements coming up very soon.
I hope so, for sure. Be amazing. Yeah, under 85 kilos and left arm.
I'd be really interested as to where Neil found out about Remy and how all of that came about.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, if you've won the national championship, so that did get a lot of attention, mainly because Devin Larratt decided to enter.
Yes.
Much to everyone's disdain, but I think he competed in, it's so funny. Like, the people complaining that he's like probably the best known arm wrestler in the world, one of the greatest arm wrestlers, probably number 2 arm wrestler in the world. And it's like, I don't want him in the competition.
It's like asking Don Bradman not to come to your cricket convention. Right. Oh no,
we don't want you.
No.
You can hang around, but we don't want to be competing with you.
Yeah.
And I think he competed in thongs. Or flip-flops if you're from another part of it.
Yes.
You might be thinking, hang on, why? I don't remember seeing that.
I saw the mankini, but I didn't see the thongs.
Oh, that's great.
He has good sales skills, but he's just a fake wanker.
Wow.
Shannon. Harsh words, Shannon.
Horrible. That's the compliments that.
But you can tell us an Australian fake wanker. Like,
yeah.
wanker.
He
Maybe.
doesn't. He's
Maybe-
not
maybe-
loved by everybody. We'll
But
say that.
maybe he is. Maybe you're right.
Is
We'll
that
have to get
fake?
Ryan.
What's
we'll
a
have to get
fake
Ryan-
wanker?
we'll
Does
have
that
to-
mean he's not a wanker then?
So he pretends to wank.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
But-
strange.
Mm.
Maybe he could get along with world's strangest man doing that. Not
Maybe that's what
wanking.
the ghost emoji was all about. Harsh words. But we'll take it all on board. We'll pass it on to Ryan. We'll put it in the suggestion box and just let him know.
Sure, he'll
that
be
he's
keen to
that
know
he's
that
a
he's a
fake
fake
wanker.
wanker.
Hey Ryan, the best payout we had, it wasn't even from an Indian.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
It's like a compliment. Maybe it was a backhanded compliment.
yeah. Maybe he pretends to wank, but he doesn't.
No.
So he's all
So
right.
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil Woodies is back on the 10 matches. That also depends on how many rounds each match is. I also prefer to stream on the big TV, smaller parties. Yeah.
So this is following on from our discussion last night where we did ask how many matches is optimal, and we've got Neil in the chat at the moment, and so it'd be interesting to see what he thinks is the optimal length. Although naturally Neil's playing a completely different game when it comes to presenting the sport, so it wouldn't be representative of how Neil's running his cards at the moment, of course. But it'd be interesting to see what Neil thinks is an optimal depth of card. Is 8 great? Is 10 good? Is 14 too much? Is 48,000 like some promotions? Is that ideal? Is that good value for money? Is that actually what the punters? What is Mazahir's current? I believe 115 thereabouts seems to be the most recent 115 kilos. So he's a big boy. He's a bit taller than Ryan as well. So yeah.
So I think if they do kilos,
I think Neil's working out. Hey,
No,
how much money do I put? How much money do I put
money.
in Mazahir?
Yeah, that's it.
Hang on. I want him to win.
Yeah.
And
How many days before the match is he getting there?
yeah. We'll keep you pumped with the inside knowledge there, Neil. So keeping your bet safe. But yeah, he's 115. So and Ryan right now is 110. And we've got.
Here you go. Supernatural. Freeze M says to Neil Pickup that he competed at the 110 kilo at the Asian Championship a few months ago. So yeah, 115, and obviously must have cut weight to get down to the under 110 limit.
Yeah. Now there's no weight cutting in AWE, so
that's right.
So both athletes will come in as comfortable as
whatever they want to weigh, they can weigh.
They can turn up and have themselves a nice meal the night before and enjoy the flight over, not having to worry about cutting weight. Ryan is going to decimate myself. It's yummy. Well, there you go. There's a Ryan fan. Interested to see who you have lined up for Lachlan and Gunter's. Well, there's a couple of big announcements coming up there as well, isn't there, Hollywood? So this is why we're just suggesting to those that haven't already, get yourselves subscribed, get yourselves registered, make sure that you're following the Instagram page. Some of these announcements you'll see there. Most of them will find their way to the YouTube channel. So make sure that you've got your notifications bell on, because these announcements will be rolling out over the next week or so. So most of these matchups are locked in. And we might even have an AWE4 announcement coming up very, very soon.
I think we do. And I think that's going to be on the AWE YouTube channel. It will drop in the next... Well, from Ryan's, it's actually already on there. It's just unlisted at the moment.
When Ryan's daughter lets him press the button on that after she's done with him, you might see that drop. So definitely stay tuned. That we'll be dropping on the AWE YouTube channel. We're trying to build our numbers up, guys. So we're trying to get ourselves to monetization. The path to monetization is only a matter of 300 or so subscribers away. We've been very lucky. We've been enjoying strong subscribership over the last few weeks, especially since AWE2. So we only launched the page a very short time ago in the lead up to AWE2, and now we're using this as our main vehicle to get the word out about what's going on, the announcements. Of course, it's the home of the AWE podcast as well, and so it's really your go-to place for all things AWE, with exception, of course, to where you'll pick up the stream. So you will see the stream on the AWE arm wrestling website.
Mm.
So that'll be launched very, very soon, but that will be where you'll go to secure the pay-per-view. Although for those that really love Ryan Bowen, you can still buy it on his channel as well.
Yeah, that's right. And the fake wanker, Ryan
Such a fake wanker, isn't he?
I love that.
Nobody use that.
That's so good.
Yeah, I love it.
Phil Waddy, Matt, is my exclusive contract ready?
Yep.
Don't forget to include unlimited espressos and first class flight for my hot ex kickboxing. There you go.
Yep.
That's fantastic. Yes, Phil was telling about yesterday about his hot ex kickboxing girlfriend.
Yeah.
That he didn't throw any punches at because
He
he
had a
doesn't
fight with
hit
her.
women.
The love began in the ring, and then
That's
yeah.
right. Yeah, that's when he wrote that comment, and it was like that. The way that it started and the way it ended was not where I thought it was going.
No. I'm sure Phil's got many more stories like that. I'm excited to see what Phil's podcast is going to look like. So,
yeah, there's Neil
Remy
Big Up.
was spotted.
Oh, you go ahead.
Oh, okay. Remy was spotted during the Canadian National Championship. So I watch everything and make notes. I'm very interested to showcase Mario. Plus, Jordan will be coming back in 2024.
Wow.
So big news.
Fantastic.
Great to see Jordan having a reason to get back on the tables, of course. I think the last time we saw Jordan compete would have been on Wars last time.
It may have been.
Yeah,
that
it's
long.
been quite the hiatus. So that's very, very exciting news. And yes, Mario. I mean, not only is he a spectacular arm wrestling talent, of course, his recent work on AWE too, and of course over there just over the weekend in Arizona is testament to his skills. But he's just a fantastic bloke as well.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah, and a great beard.
Oh, it's a luscious beard, isn't it? It's nicely shaped. I can't get that shape.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
I got like a Father Christmas type shaping going on here. And somehow Mario's is chiseled and it's like a Sumerian god. It's like a statue, isn't it?
That's right. That's right.
It's quite glorious. Quite glorious. Very attractive man. So
absolutely. We've got some emoji.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Mario's a good look.
Oh,
He is.
I did say that without thinking.
With any thought whatsoever.
No, I was reading.
Yeah, you see.
We've got the emoji description here, which I don't know why it comes up like this, but face red, droopy eyes. Okay. I can't see most of the chats with the top chat or live chat setting. The reason for that is that we're streaming across multiple channels at once. Is why I bring everyone's comments up here. So even if you might look like you're the only person watching, there, it's across multiple different platforms.
Yeah, there's probably 6 of you.
Yeah. No, that's right. So yeah, so I do bring up everyone's comments, so that you don't feel you'll miss out because that's where the other comments are.
Only
coming
green
from.
M&Ms. So we got the writer requests coming through from the
There,
Drew 24.
just explained that there, and
has he received his parcel yet?
not yet. I've been collating all the things.
Oh, there's a
I
little
don't want to give away what it is.
Oh, yeah, we got a good little care package for the Drew 24. Right. So anyway, that's something for you to look forward to, mate. So that'll be coming over to you for a live show. I believe that 2 to 2.5 hours. This is thank you, Neil. Me too. I'm with that thought. 2 to 2.5 hours. I think it is the sweet spot, and I think it gives good value for those that have paid their hard earned. And the flip side of that is that it's not long enough to get too bored. And I think also, you've only got enough mind space for maybe 7 or 8 matches, and then you might be thinking, okay, well here's a few others of guys I probably wouldn't have watched unless they were on this particular card. So that serves as a feeder and an opportunity for you to kind of get a little bit curious about some new talent that you might not otherwise have come across as yet. So I think that's a nice balance. So for us, that looks like about 10 because we're first to 4. So that's about 10 matchups.
Yeah. Well, I mean, AWE 2 was I think just on 2.5 to 3 hours.
3 hours thereabouts. Yeah.
Yep. Which I don't know. I mean, it flew past for me. I was enjoying it, and every single one of those matches I was excited to see.
I think one of the good things with AWE 2 and perhaps with the post-produced events like Neil's, for instance, there's no dead time. You know, with Niels, for instance, you're getting some story, some backstory, some drama, and some, you know, some insights that make you more vested as a viewer. With AWE, it's that fast pace, just getting through it without you know, too much fussing around. Of course, there's always the setup and there's always something going on, but you know, that's part of the intrigue of arm wrestling as well. But in between matches, no breaks, keeping things moving quickly, making sure that athletes aren't spending 5-10 minutes away from the table in between a foul or something like that. So keeping on top of that for the viewers is really important. And also, just as long as it's consistent, the athletes like it too. So
well, Neil is heading off. Great to see you in the chat, Neil, and I hope you have a stoic day. I think that's his little send-off message is always be stoic.
Be stoic. Thank you very much. We'll stoic it up. I think we got Marcus Aurelius back here somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure he's in there somewhere. There's the classic novels.
There's some Seneca for you, mate. So there we go.
Perfect. Stoicness right there.
It'd be nice to get Neil pick up to sign this one day, actually.
Yeah.
So maybe one day. I'm going to put it back right on top where it came from.
Here, he'd probably write, Ryan is a fake wanker. Love Neil.
Love Neil. If we had that, I'd charity auction that immediately. So I think that's awesome. But thank you very much, Neil. Always great to get an icon like Neil's insights. He's done it all. He's seen it all. He's got his finger on the pulse. He's still doing it all, and doing a great job. And is a fantastic ambassador for the sport. So always great to have Neil drop in on the chat and share his thoughts and feelings as to what's going on in the world of arm wrestling. We have Phil Woody. Happy Friday, pal. Let the kids off school carnage begin. So school holidays getting warmed up in your part of the world. They're just ending for us here in South Australia, but it's different. I believe that they've just had their school holidays interstate as well. So it's that time of year. Middle of the year, summer holidays for you guys, of course. So
I think Phil's in the UK. So,
so he doesn't get summer. Sorry for that, mate. just enjoy July.
So quick. That was awesome. It was not even a pause. World's Strongest Man, out mate Bowen was here. Our mate, okay.
Our mate Bowen.
Yes, World's Strangest Man. You were talking about Bowen Contrado. Was here. He was here.
He was, and I'm sure he'll be back.
He was in the comments.
Yes. No, yeah, he was in the comments. It was great.
Right,
Neil was incorrect. You're as
it's the grammar Nazi. All right, I'm taking one of your things out of the package now.
I do that all the time, actually. That's so there are no weigh-ins at AWE. No, it's all just a fantasy. When we say we're doing weigh-ins, it's just for the theatre, finding out for ourselves how heavy these guys are. Because generally speaking, what they'll do is they'll just let us know what they're walking around at, and then that'll be the number that you'll hear me call out. And I did note that our Intercontinental Champion and Champion Chicken Chef as well.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
So to check out the Instagram page if you don't know what I'm talking about. But our Intercontinental Champion, I actually lost my train of thought. I got all caught up.
Todzilla is how much did Todzilla weigh?
So so Todzilla, his thoughts were Thank you for leading me back to where I needed to go. It wasn't exactly the avenue I needed, but it got me back there in the end. He, with some degree of curiosity, mentioned that his height was announced in imperial and his weight was announced in metric. So it's the first time that it had been announced.
Yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah. 6 foot tall and 115 or 105 kilos.
Yeah.
I think it might have been very, very close to that. 5'11" maybe. I can't quite recall.
Yeah, if somebody says their height in centimeters, I'm like, I don't.
Like
170 centimeters. What is that?
And we did move to metric in 1975 or something here in Australia as well, and the currency moved in 1966. But when it comes to height and weight, people will talk more in kind of imperial measurements when it comes to height, and then the weight is kind of understood in the metric in kilos. So, but we can work it out. If you're talking pounds, we know roughly what you're talking. We can get there. But it's just one of those little idiosyncrasies of our hybridized measurement system. all officially though, it's all metric, so it'll all be centimeters. But if somebody tells me they're 188 centimeters, I've got no idea how tall that is.
Not my barbell foods. Maybe, Drew. Maybe.
We just got to get it past customs.
That's right. World's strangest man. Pat him on the back and say, there. Awesome. There you go. Well done. I love it. It's like weather and weather.
Yes.
Or wind and wind.
Yeah. Which one? I don't know.
That's a really cool concept, actually. No cutting. Yeah, absolutely. It's we do a face-off thing the night before where we'll go through the rules with the referee, which I think was filmed and put up last time. But yes, then we'll do a face-off for promotional purposes. But yeah, it's in AWE we don't have weight classes at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, and I guess that the ethic of AWE is really, I think our Instagram bio might say something along the lines of putting on the world's best super matches, and it's really about finding athletes that we feel will be competitive, almost. And I won't make an announcement premature, so don't get nervous on me, Ryan. But we've got two athletes that are from very different weight categories on the card, and it might appear to many as a mismatch, but there's been some recent developments with one of those athletes that makes us feel that maybe this is more even than I can see.
I don't even know.
Yeah, so he was in the chat earlier on. You could check it out.
There was a lot of people in the chat.
Yeah.
Here, you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. Neil Bigger, AW3. No, it's not.
Exclusively contracted to AWE.
Can't compete at Arm Wars. Can't promote anywhere else.
No.
It's awesome. The Drew, Barbell Foods. Thank you very much. The Drew, that is Barbell Foods right here. The biltong and the difference, Dave, their point of difference is?
Oh, so biltong is air dried, whereas a beef jerky is oven dried. And so here you get, and I don't think it's just been hanging in his bathroom or in his shed or anything like that. They've got a proper room. It's all set up properly. It's all very hygienic. So high protein snacks.
What? Because that's what I was picturing. It's on his clothesline out the back.
Yeah, it's just got a hanging in his laundry. It's making it in his bath. No, that's not how it's done.
That's not how it's done.
No.
If you were thinking that, you were wrong.
Actually, head over to Barbell Foods Instagram page, and they actually show you exactly how it is that they make the biltong. It's awesome. So from our perspective, fantastic partners, because not only do we like the taste of it, but high in protein.
Yeah,
great little snacks instead of some chips. Yeah, grabbing some biltong.
That's right. No,
fantastic,
tremendous.
Yeah, and you can buy it in this form. And you can also buy it as a kilo bags of the steaks.
Is that the one that somebody stole from you?
Yeah. There was a whole box of it over here, like $200 worth. But it's just disappeared. So I can just imagine a South African sitting back, just.
Like, is that biltong? A whole box of it.
I've not seen this since I left Johannesburg. I'm taking a whole fucking box. We did have a couple of South Africans in our last event as well. So I think we're going to see more of the South Africans. We certainly got a couple of Indians. One announced, and maybe one coming in the luggage. So in the overhead locker. So
for his Mr. Olympia debut against Jamie Barrett.
I think we arm wrestles Jamie Barrett, and that counts for so many points, like a PFL system. So he'll go in, and so it'd be best of four, or first of four, and so say somebody gets 2 pins and the other one gets 4. Okay, well that counts at so much.
Right,
then it goes to the pose off, and
most muscular.
Yeah, I want to see all the poses,
right?
And we don't care about legs.
Okay,
so it's all upper body. It's waist up.
If you flex your legs, you lose.
Well, I don't want to see. I don't want to see an arm wrestler's
You're doing it in jeans.
I don't want to see it. You notice with middle-aged arm wrestlers, like they're like 80% of their weight in their legs is in their calves.
Yeah, that's true. That's right.
So it's like balancing out from their forearms. It's like the respective limb, the end of the limb.
It is
sights and mirrors and balances out.
I had this conversation with somebody in the gym a little while ago, and the bodybuilding. The competition side is very strange. If you look at it from
it's the least healthy.
Well, not only that, but it's sort of like, okay, well, you've got the aggression. Let's try and get as big and strong and powerful and muscular as possible, which is in the gym, and then it's the other side of it is now shave your body, put on fake tan, and pose to music.
Yeah,
in your underwear,
gracefully in your undies. Yeah, it's sparkly undies, preferably. Sparkly, shiny undies.
That's right.
Yeah,
it's so. How did you get from there to there? You know, like what? Wait, was this a trick?
And how many times did you compete?
Well, I didn't have the sparkly undies. That's why I
I'd like
lost.
to do a charity auction with your sparkly undies. I think that, but there weren't any.
There weren't.
Oh,
I went with the classic black.
You can't go with matte finishes if you want to be seen to be the best.
If you're going to wear the sparkly ones, you better be the winner because otherwise you look like a complete tool.
Yeah, crazy. So let's get through some of these comments before we wind up. We really appreciate everybody hanging in there. We've been going for just over an hour or so now, and it's or 2 hours. Is that yours? No, it's an hour and 23.
An hour and 23.
Yeah. I was thinking it was 123 minutes there for a second. Yeah. I would have been bored by now if it was that long.
Phil Woody didn't ask us. Oh, here we go.
Phil Woody?
Yeah. Have you guys ever visited the UK? I've visited Sydney. Hats off to Jake. No idea how he manages all the travel.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a misnomer that Jake ever returns. Now he's just staying overseas.
They do know that there is 3 Jakes. That there's one in Australia. There's one over in the UK. There is 3 of the same person.
Yeah.
Well, they know that, don't they?
Yeah.
They don't know that.
It's just 3 guys that.
Yeah, there's 3 guys that look the same.
They sound the same.
They do that voice. It's an act. It's
Ready,
a character.
bang!
It's a character thing.
Yeah.
Did they not aware of this?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just been created by the arm. It's the best in joke in arm wrestling is that Jake Ward is not a person.
No, it's like an anagram. If you mix up those letters, it really means secret.
It means Neil Pickup.
He's the UK one.
Yeah.
He does Jake in the UK.
Yeah, ready, bang. What's your favorite Jakeism? What's your? I mean, outside of Ready Bang, of course.
I think gunslingers. These 2 gunslingers are going to go at it. They've pulled the pins on these grenades. Yeah,
that's my favorite.
I got it.
Pulled the pins on these grenades. Oh, look at it go. It's amazing. Huge energy whenever Jake's in the room, of course. So, yeah, very cool.
Amazing. Yeah, that's right. Well, if people are able to copy your catchphrases.
I hope we haven't given away too many kind of secrets about the exclusive contracts and Jake not being real. All of these things.
Well, that is a big. I mean, that's a big.
I mean, how does he appear on all of the podcasts? At the same time?
I thought that people knew that.
Yeah,
that it was a character. That other people were playing the character.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Wait until the Indian fans find out about this. I used a potato dough okay.
I think we've had a discussion between several. I'm trying to sort of find my way through here.
Potato bread. Tell me about it. That. Sounds like potato bread to me. Actually. Potato bread.
I've never heard of that.
Irish friends know what I'm talking about.
You didn't answer the question. Have you been to the UK?
Have I been to the UK? No, I haven't been any further north than Port Augusta.
Have you not been? You've been to Perth.
Yeah, I'm lying, but no, I haven't been in the UK. So, as a matter of fact, we've got very good reason to be heading over there very, very shortly, and so I will be making my way over there at some point in the not too distant future. As a matter of fact, I think my wife's filling in all the passport stuff at the moment. So, yeah,
there you go, amazing.
Could be right now. Maybe not right now. Maybe she's.
She might have stopped for a few seconds.
She might have gone to the fish and chip shop actually because it was getting towards that time. It's a fish and chip Friday.
Yeah,
my place tonight. Yeah,
I haven't been to the UK either. I have been to Canada and the United States of America.
I don't want to have any experience of the UK other than I just want to be. If I do go, and when we make our way over there, I just want to step off the plane, be blindfolded, and taken to an Armed Gods event. And then straight afterwards.
That's how all the people attend the armed forces.
This is why they're so excited when they're in the room. I wasn't abducted. This is great. It's an arm wrestling event. Who would have known?
Yeah, that's right.
So and then be extracted from that event before it all died down, and then just ushered into with noise cancelling headphones and placed back on the plane and flown back home. That's
first
how
class.
I'd like to.
First class.
I don't want any experience of the UK other than that.
Yeah,
I think anything else would be a letdown.
That's true. You can't beat that experience. Lazy Hook Says, have you guys been to New Zealand? It was awesome to have a few Aussies over for our big comp here a couple of months back.
Yeah, it was I think you had Lachlan Adair, all
Mhm.
140 kilos of him over there, and we had a few other big names.
I'm not sure if Mario went.
Did Mario go? Yeah,
maybe.
Might be able to let us know, Lazy Hook. But I know a few of the
Lachlan Carpenter went, I think.
Oh, Lockie Company. Yeah. So always a pleasure. So we would love to come to New Zealand. We'd be staying at Mataringi's house, and from what I understand, he'll look.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
No, he
We
hasn't.
don't have a
He hasn't
choice.
extended
It's
the invitation.
you're
We'll do
staying
whatever.
there.
We'll stay wherever he lets us stay.
Yes,
It's his
right.
country. He's the king.
Carolyn is not a fan of the UK. She said she'd give it a miss and come to the States. I have been to the
Okay.
States. I've been
Spent your,
on my honeymoon, actually.
honeymoon
Yeah.
at a UFC event
Yeah, we
Yeah.
went to see the UFC in
Yeah.
Las Vegas.
to see your second love, Tito Ortiz.
That's right.
Yeah.
And my wife grabbed his bum.
Wow! So everyone was a winner that
Yeah,
night.
that's right.
Wow! So okay, give it a miss.
She
Well,
said it was by accident.
so apart from the arm goals, you probably agree with me. Just drop me in the arm.
That's
Extract me just
fantastic.
before the end. Let's rush through some of these before we head away, knowing that fish and chips is waiting. I think I'd enjoy the crappy rainy weather there. Yeah, it's well, they're enjoying all of that right now, which is the peak of summer.
This is
when my grandparents came from the UK to Australia in 1956, and their sole reason for coming to Australia because the weather.
Yeah.
So they made the determination and moved. How bad does the weather have to be where you are to say our families have lived here for over 1,000 years, but you know what? Fuck it.
There's a golden land
with
amazing beaches.
We will go to the other side of the planet to get away from it. Yeah, and we don't know anybody.
Nah.
We've got no job.
Nah.
We've got 600 quid to our name because we just sold our house, and we're jumping on a boat for 8 weeks to get away from the weather.
Yeah.
So there you go. People make big life decisions. Well, made big life decisions differently.
Yeah.
Middle of last century, obviously. The two Lachlan's, Mario, the two Toms. Whoa, wow. And had the pleasure of being refed by Tom. Learnt a lot by the two Toms.
Tom Uglasier and Tom Demkowski.
Tom Demkowski is racking up the frequent fly. He was here for the AWE 2 event as well behind the scenes. So of course Tom Demkowski featured on AWE 1 and is one of our superstars, and we obviously enjoy seeing them travel around the world and doing great things. Fantastic ambassadors for the sport. And Tom's of course one of the best refs. We're very fortunate to have had another great ref in the chat tonight as well. Yeah. So spot on impression. Phil, would you like the Jake?
Got one up here from Count Chapel, the Great Dane.
Count Chapel, the Great Dane. What happened to Khaled since King of the Table? As far as I'm concerned, looks like he turned Khaled. I don't train just shell to Khaled. No training just shell. Khaled wanted a rematch fresh against Bowen.
I think the Khaled has moved into MMA, just from what I understand.
Yeah, he's had a change of focus, and from what I understand in the MMA world, he's struggling to. Well, I think if you saw his last performance and how it all ended, you might have a clearer understanding. And so, we wish him all the very best of luck in all of his endeavours. But I don't think we'll be seeing him at an AWE event anytime soon. Not sure what's going on with the great Khaled. But I'm sure we'll see him on our screens again sometime not too.
Yeah, I haven't seen him. I mean, he was obviously in Dubai a lot, training with Larry and all those guys over there. But the last I heard was he was doing MMA. We did see one MMA fight that he had, which didn't end the best in terms of sportsmanship ways. But I'm not sure if he's come back to the arm wrestling world since then. Phil Woody says the spot on impression, Jake, is definitely Mr. Catchphrase Central and positive energy. You dead set legends. My soccer team's pre-match mantra has been ready bang for almost 2 years. Just not as loud as Jake. Oh, that's fantastic. I wonder if he knows that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's a great guy. Carolyn I think this is a conversation that's happening between Carolyn and the world's strangest man.
Yeah, always good to make friends in the comments. Sounds like New York.
Sounds like New York. Georgie,
your body's on amusement park. What are you doing?
You've kicked this off. We've got to move on before we get stuck in it.
We
Colin
get bogged
might be
into
a
that
good-
for hours.
Yeah, that's right. This is what happens. As soon as we press stop, it's just non-stop ridiculous impressions, which we think is funny, and no one else.
You don't want to hear it. It's all. Seems like Carl went back to Africa. Yeah, he might have been back to Cameroon, I believe.
Sing it, sorry.
And where is the smallest man in the village? The weakest man in the village, I believe. So, yeah. So it's like the Gracies when they sent out Hoist because he was like the weak one.
He was.
You know, he was look, send him out, and we'll leave Hickson. So somewhere in Cameroon, in Khaled's village, there's a Hickson Gracie. There's there's a even more jacked Khaled, just exactly the same, 4 inches taller, 3.5 inch bigger bicep, and never trained a day in his life.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the guy.
That's right.
That's the guy.
Him. Yeah.
So
This is quite a different change of pace with this comment here. How did the government get the gun owners to hand in all the guns in Australia? Well, there was a massacre in Port Arthur, and 35 people were killed by a maniac, and everyone said, okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I think it was a politically opportunistic moment. There was a very at that point in time, our Prime Minister was John Howard, who would be maybe one of the most conservative leaders of Australia since the war, since the Menzies years, and this was something that pushed against that conservative wing of his own party who weren't advocating for gun confiscation, but it was certainly used much to the amusement of many of our American friends that see it as a right to bear arms and to be able to protect themselves, not just against each other, but ultimately against the tyranny of government. And there's a very fair argument there, and there would have been a point in Australia's history where a similar argument could have been made, but as a result of that tragedy, that was used very much as the reason to go down the path of restricting everyday citizens from holding a gun license. You needed a specific reason, whether it be sport or your occupation, to be able to hold onto a gun thereafter through much of the country. And the rules around how you kept firearms had also changed dramatically. So there's an argument to say we haven't had too many issues since then. There is also that argument that I'm reminded by my American friends often is that during COVID, you know, there's whenever you're experiencing the tyranny of government or what you might feel, of course, you're all the more disempowered when you don't have that opportunity to physically protect yourself against maybe the greater authorities that are acting in an unjust way. So it's a very interesting topic.
It is,
and there's a lot of Australians in particular like say, well, we don't have guns here, and we have had a gun culture over time. One of our more famous rebellions would have been Break Morant and the Eureka Stockade, and of course that wouldn't have happened. There wouldn't have been that pushback against the authority of government if it wasn't for those protesters at the time to be able to bear arms. So and that's a moment that's often celebrated within Australian culture, and especially by our union movement, but it's no big surprise that in 2023 it's exactly that same union movement that works and advocates for very, very strict gun control laws. So very interesting, complicated political matter, and certainly well over the heads of the team here at AWR. So
Danny is trying to trick you here with a funny one of those names that when you say it out loud, it sounds like something else. So Danny, you've played your hand. I'm very good at picking those up, and if somebody does get me, I have offered that they will get a free Hollywood McConnelly t-shirt. So that's why you do see that every now and then, and I do look out for it. And you've been caught out here, Danny. Sorry.
It's all over it. Yep.
That's right.
An unarmed citizen is a more controllable one. 100% it is the Drew 24. You get conflicting views, of course, around that, and individual responsibility and government responsibility and common responsibilities and all of these types of things. It's an ongoing discussion, and in Australia it seems that the authorities, well, now they've locked up all the guns, the chances of them becoming freely available once more nil and Buckley's, and I would say, in other words, none. Sorry to use an Australianism, and I would go so far to suggest the Drew that if the same measures were applied in the US, you would have the same situation. Once you don't have that, once that right's taken away, you never get it back. So
I had a friend that had a cannon.
Yep, that's fair enough. Yeah,
didn't have a gun, but he had a cannon, and it was pointed at his front door. So.
Wow.
And I'm not kidding you.
Would have made the Uber guy really nervous.
That's right. They're going, oh, God.
What do we got here? Second last one.
No, we've got a whole bunch here.
All right.
A lot of people in, which has been great.
I've got the chips going cold.
All right.
Somebody has upset Paul Italia from Godin's camp. So upsetting the friendliness between 98 and Paul was heartwarming. So upsetting the friendliness. Okay, so some consternation there, some conflict. Always good to sell a pay-per-view or two, I'd say. Carly got in a spot of bother and returned home for now. Got in a spot of bother. Okay, we'll read into that. So good to see. Would be good to see Ryan versus Khalid Fresh v Fresh. Well, maybe when Ryan is Emperor of India, he'll perhaps invite him to his palace and have that match.
He's going country by country. Is that how it's working?
That's right. Yeah, he might become king of Cameroon then. AWE, thanks for speaking on this. You guys are our brothers and allies. Indeed, I would like to think that we are indeed both of those things.
I think the Black Powder Coffee, Black Rifle Coffee, I think is maybe what you're alluding to. They're a very strong organization they're a group of guys that sell coffee in America, but they are conservative and very much for gun rights.
Oh yes, I've come across them on Gab. I don't know if you're allowed to say that word on any of these platforms.
Oh, we're done now. That's it. You've ruined it all.
Demonetized. So thank you very much to everybody for joining us here on the AWE podcast once again. We've popped on because we do have the news of Ryan versus Mazahir. So Ryan Blue Bowen will be taking on the very best that India has to offer in a heavyweight matchup at AWE 3 that will have arm wrestling fans across the world salivating at the possibilities that lies in that particular matchup. Quickly before we go, who do you think wins?
Out of Mazahir and Mr. Bowen,
yes,
I think Ryan Bowen is the favorite in that.
Ryan Bowen is the favorite. What are you going to call it? 4-0 like Jake, or
I'd say it's a 4-0.
Okay, 4-0. Okay, well, you and Jake are equally Ryan's best mate now. Look, I mean, I've got to go with Ryan as well. I would like to think that he's got what it takes, but you know what? They're surprising the Indians, when you've got them written off, almost like, and you see that in the cricket, when everybody's, this is the worst tour team to find its way over to Australia, and they've got their, and somehow they win the one-day series, and then all of a sudden it's all over. So you can never write off the Indians, and I'm really looking forward to seeing Mazahir here on our fair shores competing against Ryan Bowen at AWE 3. Can't wait. I call it Ryan, and I'm going to say 4-2. I think, just to balance things out a little bit. Okay. But Mazahir, I think he's got a couple in him.
We'll go through these last comments and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay.
Khaled, by any chance, if you see this podcast in the future, it is your own honor. So weak that you'd even count. This is a bit of a call out from Couch Apple to say that he'd love to see a Khaled Jashel Ryan Bowen match.
I think Couch Apple's he's trying to start some shit.
He is.
I think he's just he's got like
There's some fury in that. He was angry typing.
I'll be the spark that sets this fire up. That's there's a new up and coming arm wrestler making waves in Europe. Oh, we'll be very interested to hear about that young
he's
man.
trying to trick you. I said I'm good at this game.
This
is Pete from New South Wales. Peter Wenschenko. No t-shirt for you.
They keep trying. It's entertaining.
Well, I don't, because I don't have to give him a t-shirt.
Okay.
Coffee brand, yes. And okay. Well, I think we will wrap things up there. It's been great to have everybody in. This is probably one of the most watched ones we've had, which has been amazing. We have lots of people writing comments, which is always great for us because we get to interact with all the fans of arm wrestling as we are as well. And yes, thank you very much for watching the AWE podcast.
Indeed.
Any final thoughts, Dave?
Well, I would just say to everybody, stay tuned because there's a whole lot more coming in by way of AWE news over the weekend. We don't know if one of those announcements has been made whilst we've been doing this podcast.
I can see on the YouTube whether it's
Let's have a look. Has it gone live yet?
Switch it back. Hang on.
Maybe you just press it live.
Oh no, that would be terrible. Ryan, but hang on, I'm not ready.
Wait, what?
Where are we?
We're just checking out the page before we sign off. We do have. Oh, look at that! A little ranking.
No, it's not live.
It's not live. It's still unlisted. But that will be coming to you very, very soon. Stay tuned for that next big announcement. But we'll leave you with the thoughts of a Ryan Bowen, Mazahir Seydoux matchup. Should be a great heavyweight matchup. India's finest against Ryan Blue Bowen at AWE 3. Lots to look forward to there. Big announcements coming. AWE 3 and 4, and of course the controversy over exclusive contracts. I'm sure that'll rage on as the arm wrestling world comes to grips with the next era that's before us. Hollywood Mate Connolly, thanks so much again for your very warm introduction. I
thought you were going for a handshake.
I didn't. I was just gesturing, but then I saw you come.
Well, it was unconscious, my hand moved without me thinking, because you've gone like that.
Yeah. It was nice. I like the connection.
Sure.
Yeah, it was good. And to you as well at home.
Everyone better be leaning forward at the moment.
Indeed. And to Neil Pickup and Couch Apple and Fox 8 Ball and did we see Fox 8 Ball? I don't think we did.
No,
maybe he's asleep. He does sleep, it seems. And all of the team and Drew 24, all the guys. Carolyn, thank you so much. Luke, who's always back in there. Woody, of course. Phil Woody. So thank you very much for tuning in. And we look forward to bringing you more of the AWE very, very soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.